Hey there, I'm Ish, and welcome to a year of Trek. So I was not on yesterday. There were two episodes we were supposed to watch yesterday, and two episodes we were watching today. My plan was to do all four episodes in this podcast. But since I already talk a lot, and these episodes go on for so long, I'm going to do 3 episodes today and 3 episodes tomorrow. So today in this podcast, we're going to talk about shore leave. We're going to go over shore leave. We're going to go over balance. No, we did Balance of Terror. Which was the other one? Because I actually watched them and I took notes. I just didn't. I didn't have a chance to actually do anything. That's Lower Decks. What? Oh, Galileo 7. Shore leave and what was it? The Squire of Gothos. That's what we're going to do today. I don't know why I was looking at my notes. I could have looked in here. So let's just go back to here, just so we're all on the same page, which is page 4 of this book. If you haven't got this book, go Amazon. There's a link in the thing below. If you watch this show, give us a like. You may not be able to watch this live, but if you're actually watching this like after the fact and you watch on a regular basis, please give us a like. That really helps out the show. People talk about, oh, you don't really need subscribers. The subscribers will grow. Don't think about those numbers. I think we have 21 subscribers. So if you're not subscribing, subscribe, give us a follow, and then hit the like button. That'll get us out to more people. So more people will enjoy this show. Because, well, I know sometimes I can be boring, but sometimes I can be really funny and insightful. Okay. Anyway, today we're going to cover Shore Leave, Galileo 7 from yesterday, and we're going to cover the Squire of Gothos that was from today. Then tomorrow we'll do Arena, which was from today, and then of course tomorrow's episodes, which is Tomorrow is Yesterday. I did not plan that pun, and Court Martial. Okay, so and I was doing that. I did that for one reason, but I got a note and I didn't read it until just before I went live, that Rob, who is a regular on here, he's a buddy of mine from the East Coast, he actually can't tune in because he's super exhausted because, well, it's like 10 o'clock where he is. So I don't blame him. Anyway, and he wanted to talk about Arena. So we will leave that for tomorrow. So, and I'll let him know that it's all about that. So anyway. Okay, so our first episode, and I have to scroll through because, of course, I watched the episodes from yesterday, and then I watched Lower Decks, so got to get to the right thing. Okay, so our first episode, Shore Leave. Shore Leave is one of those fun episodes, okay? Enterprise comes to a planet. They say no animals or people. Okay. Anyway, so they come to this planet, they go down, they don't see any animals or people, and it seems like a safe place. Kirk talks in his log about, people need a rest, and of course he himself is already, he's already kind of feeling it. Yeoman gives him a back rub. He thinks it's Spock. Spock talks to him about an officer that needs shore leave, and that his timing is off on it, and he's just not being the best. And Kirk is like, "Well, tell me who that person is. That person needs to be one of the first people down there." And he goes, "Well, the officer's name is Jim Kirk." So Kirk's like, "Fuck. Okay, I'll go down there." But it's that fun episode. It's not supposed to be a serious episode. There might be some learnings that you could totally read into it. I didn't, but I've got some stuff here. There are some questions that come up. Now, at the time, they don't know that this is a manufactured planet. Okay. They figure that out, of course. And so when they say no animals or people, I get no people. There are uninhabited worlds out there. But to have like plant life, like flourishing plant life, there's got to be some type of animal life. Have they not heard of bees? Like pollination, like that kind of, like without that, there'd be no plant life. I'm just saying. Kirk mentioned something about transporting down the starboard section. Now I know he's talking about people, but like, is that the starboard section? You know, people working in the starboard section of, you know, a deck, or the whole starboard section, like everybody on the starboard side of the ship. Like, he doesn't really go into a lot of, you know, I don't know. It's one of those throwaway lines that you really, nobody, like, people are gonna be like, yeah, you know, in the future there's gonna be this really dumb guy that gets online and really, you know, picks stuff to pieces live as he watches Star Trek for an entire year. Let's see. I wrote notes. You would think if there were no signs of life on a planet and you just happened to find a pistol. Oh yeah. This is when, you know, of course, drama, the rock opens and there's a pistol. Okay. There's no life. There's no people. And there just happens to be a pistol. Wouldn't you go be like, hey, sir, look what I found? You would think that that would be something that you would do. Like, I'm not just going to pick up a pistol and start shooting it. But that's exactly what Sulu does. Oh, I found this. I'm going to start shooting it. Really? I don't know. I know, fun episode, but I just thought that was didn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense. And of course, you know, Kirk, you know, he meets Finnegan, who basically teased him and harassed him. He was a bully. You know, Kirk had a bully. There you go. This big, you know, this awesome captain of a starship, one of the most important captains in the world or in Starfleet, was bullied, not just in grade school or elementary school or high school, at the academy. And of course, they just, you know, they played it off as he was a prankster. So we get to meet him, and Kirk gets to beat him up. So we have kind of like, you know, oh, I feel so much better. But my question is, who the fuck is Ruth? We meet this blonde, like a gorgeous woman, Ruth, and he's totally enamored by her. And let's see, he says 15 years. 15 years. So if Kirk is roughly 35, 36 years old, it's 15 years. He met her when he was 20. Was this while he was in the academy? My notes, let's see. Oh, she does. Yeah, she does show up at the end. So of course he goes off and probably bangs a robot. Now, from The Man Who Never Missed, when because we had talked about this just a couple episodes ago, Man Who Never Missed, the blonde lab technician that they talked about, generally accepted that that's Carol Marcus. Okay, but Ruth, could it have been Ruth? We don't know, because there's like, she's this girl that shows up. Kirk is more enamored by her than any other little love interest that he has in shows, and we get nothing. So, and I'm really not a big Star Trek novel reader, so I don't know. Sorry, my daughter's texting me. Okay. I sent her money. So anyway, So I'm not really a big novel reader. I've read some of the Star Trek novels, not all of them, just a handful of them. So I don't know if they ever bring Ruth back in or explain to her, explain what her history is. If you're watching this and you know because you've read one of those books, I would love to know. Put it in the comments. I would love to know. Put it in the comments. Okay, so the first thing. Now, I've seen this episode 100 times, but of course I can't remember everything that happens in it. So of course we see the tiger, and we see, what is it, Rodriguez and that other chick, and I can't remember her name. He said it, but I didn't write it down. And then I think somebody actually calls him Esteban. Hold on. Oops. I hit dictation, so that my text pull up everything I just said. So I think it was Esteban Rodriguez. I'm guessing that might be the character's name. Anyway, so he's holding on to this girl that he's been, not necessarily that they have a relationship, but they beam down. They're doing whatever survey for the captain, and of course they get a tiger. A tiger comes up. I wrote tiger plus phaser equals sleepy kitty because he's wearing a phaser. Now he's wearing a phaser. I was kind of curious. Why are the two women that are on the planet, Starfleet women, why are they not wearing phasers? It got me thinking. Do we ever see women carry phasers on Star Trek in the original series? Got me thinking. And we will revisit this in actually the next episode. But of course we find out that phasers don't work. And we find out because Sulu tries to shoot the samurai and his phaser doesn't work. And then let's see. And then I wrote down hallucinations can't harm us. Oh, I think that they were talking about either are they hallucinations or are they real? Oh, that's right. So McCoy's got a love interest, this yeoman, who's actually really pretty. Like she's really, really pretty. And so he's kind of got a love interest going. So he's like, oh, there's that the guy with the jouster. And he says, well, these are all hallucinations. Hallucinations won't hurt us. Yeah, guess what? He died. He got stabbed. So we're like, what the hell? I thought that was just really like, I don't know. I thought that was kind of uncharacteristic for McCoy. I just found that kind of uncharacteristic for him. Oh, and that was Yeoman Burroughs, is her name. Yeah, I don't know. I really didn't like that part. So Kirk is actually getting to fight Finnegan, and I said, there's the first of the famous jumping double kicks, like the 2 feet coming in. And then, of course, there's I think most of it was him. He was doing most of his own. I think there's only like one scene where it was like, yeah, I don't think that's Shatner. But I do think it's funny where he ends up getting thrown on the ground, like he's totally beat up, and his uniform isn't ripped. And then it cuts a scene back to Finnegan, and then it cuts a scene back to Shatner, and his uniform is ripped. It's like, really? And then talking about ripped uniforms, Burroughs, she is attacked by Don Juan, gets her uniform ripped. Very traumatic experience. And Kirk, I just really don't think was very, I think he was very insensitive to her in that moment. And I'm kind of saying that sarcastically and seriously. I mean, this was written back, all this shit was written back in the 60s. So, you know, all this woke peace and love, but screw the woke part. Like, trauma is a serious fucking thing. And I know it's a fun episode. Mish, don't read too much into it. But back on the ripped uniform. So her uniform gets ripped by being attacked. She talks about, oh, this is such a romantic thing. We should, you know, there should be like some dress. I feel like a princess in a dress. And boom, a dress shows up. And of course she puts it on. Why? Of course, it just shows up. I'm going to wear it. Why? Why would you do that? Now, when she gets back into her uniform is no longer ripped. So when she took off her uniform to put on the dress, did the people in charge of the planet fix the uniform? I mean, it kind of plays that it's ripped. It just wasn't zipped up all the way if you really look at it. So I don't know if the costume, like, yeah, anyway, the editors didn't do a very good job on that. And then, of course, McCoy shows up. So McCoy dies, and that one gal wearing the gold shirt who was with Esteban. Okay. So when they find out, oh no, he really didn't die. I mean, he did, but they fixed him. They fixed her too. Now he shows up with 2 cabaret girls on each arm, and Yeoman Burroughs is like, I'm jealous. And so, and then the other gal is not even acknowledged, but she just kind of shows up in the background. Like the camera pans this way, and then it pans this way, and boom, there's the kid, there's the girl. I was like, oh, she's still alive. So she shows up, but they don't acknowledge her for shit. And then of course, one of the girls, of course, Burroughs takes McCoy, and I noticed that when one of the cabaret girls walks over to Spock, Leonard Nimoy smiles, and then it cuts. It's like really quick, but yeah, Spock totally smiles. I think Spock is getting stiffy. And that was the episode. Like, it was a fun little episode. Kind of a break. Now, our next episode is Galileo 7. This is the first episode where we get to see the shuttle bay. Second episode where we actually get to see a shuttle, and we get the names of 2 shuttlecraft. This also was an episode that primarily focuses on Spock and his command stuff. We get a couple other characters in there. I thought for a second, of course, the ship itself is the Galileo 7. Okay. Now, is it the Galileo 7 because the other 6 shuttles blew up, or is that just it's the Galileo and it's the 7th? It's the 7th shuttlecraft. I think further on in the episode, it's referenced that there are only 4 shuttles on the Enterprise, or really in a Constitution class ship. I could be wrong though. I don't know. So it could be that there are more, and it's just like, numbered, but I'm getting too far into that. I almost considered that maybe, even though the ship is, like the shuttle is called the Galileo 7, that it was the Galileo 7, that there were 7 people on the shuttle. And then I thought, no, it isn't even. I think it is an even number, because you have Spock, you have the black guy, I can't remember his name, you have McCoy, you have the yeoman, you have Scotty. Oh my gosh, I think I just realized it. And then you have the other 2 characters. There were 7 characters. So it's not only that, dude. Okay, so it's not only the ship's name, but there were 7 characters that were in the shuttle that get stuck on the planet. I could be wrong though. You know what? Okay, hold on. Yeah, no, seriously. Let's go through this again. You have our major players, Spock, McCoy, and Scotty. Okay, there's 3. Then you have the yeoman, and I bring up the yeoman she's because she actually has a phaser. In the previous episode, we didn't see any of the chicks with phaser. She actually has a phaser, and I think I actually wrote her name down too. And then we have Bowman. He's the black dude. And then we have, and I wrote their names down too because I've been trying to keep track of people who die. Did I write down their name? I didn't. Oh, okay. Gaetano. Yep. So Gaetano, Boma, and shoot. Hold on. Bear with me. Latimer. So Latimer, Gaetano, Boma, Spock, McCoy, Scotty, and the yeoman. 7 people. So it's not just the name of the episode. It's not just the name of the ship, but it's also how many people. Symbolism. The Galileo 7. That because it's their story. Fuck. Okay. There you go. 23 minutes and 40 seconds in, you're like, dude, I never knew that before. And I'm sure people have figured that out, but I just now figured that out. I thought about it, but I really had to do bad math live in front of everybody. Okay. Where was I? Okay. So now that we get past that, okay. One of the things I found kind of funny is they're in the shuttle. They have not crash landed yet. They're in the shuttle, and of course, this is the 60s, and computers have little blinky lights that don't really do anything, but we're made to think that they do things, and that people are trained to understand what the little blinky lights are for. And in reality, that's probably a thing, but it's the 60s and it's Star Trek. So, Yeoman, like, she kind of looks and taps, and there's like blink, 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 and she says, "Readings are normal. Readings are normal." And so I realized, like, the little flashy lights are flashing like they're supposed to. Like, I don't know. Readings are normal. I don't know. I gotta think. Okay, so I guess the whole premise here with the whole thing is that they're supposed to be. They come across a quasar, Morisaki 312 quasar, and of course Kirk is, no matter what he's doing, he has to study this, and so he's supposed to be delivering something with this commissioner who is a complete twat. Like, he's being a dick. Like, there's really, I can't even put it nicely. He's a turd. Anyway, so the shuttle goes out, they lose power, whatever, and they crash land, and the whole story is them getting power back up to leave again. But the entire time, the commissioner's like, "Kirk, you have to do that. And there's this regulation in book 14, page 35, some section, blah, 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 blah." I didn't even bother writing it down. That he has power over Kirk when it comes to a certain point. So Kirk has this time frame that he's got to get this stuff done by the time. Okay, so now he sends out another shuttle to look for them. So we get the Galileo and we get the Columbus. So there are two names for the shuttles. Okay. Now, spoiler alert, the Galileo doesn't survive this episode. So if we started with 4, now we have 3. But the Galileo 7 is done. So maybe the next ship that comes up will be the Galileo 8. I don't know, bad joke. So, so one of the plot complications that they have on the planet is them trying to leave, not have enough power, and there's these huge creatures that I have nicknamed Chewbacca because they're just big. They're really big and hairy, and they've got these huge swords. Latimer is the first one to bite it. He gets like big old spear in the back, and it's funny because when he falls, the spear goes and just stays. Yeah, that's kind of funny. Of course, Spock is like trying to be logical, and he doesn't want to kill anybody. He doesn't want to kill him. He just wants to scare him. He goes through all that drama. Now, one scene, Burma, whatever his name, Boma, him and Gaetano, however you pronounce his name, and Spock go out and they phaser fire, whatever, try and scare Chewbacca, and so, but they have to get back to the ship to do something. I can't remember what it is, and so Spock tells Gaetano, "Hey, you stay here." You stay here, and Boma and I are going to go back to the shuttle. You stay here just to kind of, ward off anybody. The look on Gaetano's face was priceless. It was kind of like a, what the fuck? Like, why me? The other good look. This is Emmy winning, like, I say Emmy because it's TV, not movies. This is Emmy winning performances here. The look that Boma gives him is like, I am so sorry, dude. And I know this is the last time I'm going to see you because you're going to fucking die. And I know I've been cursing a lot in this episode. I'm sorry. But I just thought that was really funny. But the look is just like, I know you're going to die, but I can't say it out loud because you know it too. You know you're going to die too. I just thought that was funny. Let's see. Okay. Prime Directive question. Now they've interacted with these, and it's been through self-defense. They've tried to defend themselves against these creatures. Spock has actually tried to not kill these creatures, but and it was kind of out of their control. They crash land on this thing in their primitive culture. But so there's some of the things that are out of their control when it comes to the Prime Directive. Now I know the Prime Directive is a directive that people break all the time, but let's just say, okay, these creatures, the ship, maybe they're too primitive to understand about the ship, but you've buried bodies on the planet. You've buried bodies on the planet. So that would be like aliens coming here thousands of years ago, them dying, burying them, and then leaving. So then when we become smart and become archaeologists and dig people up, they're like, wow, this really doesn't look like a giant. Like, this looks like a little person. So now you've got, I don't know. So that was just my question. Burying the bodies on the surface. What about the Prime Directive? Now, we have not been introduced to the Prime Directive yet. So, I don't know. Let's see. Oh, another thing I found humorous about this episode, even though the episode is not humorous. A panning of the nav and op station, or naving and the helm. The camera just kind of goes like this. And Sulu, doing his job intently, he's got this switch and he's looking, and he's going click, 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 click. You can see it with his finger, and he's just flipping this switch back and forth. What does the switch do? I don't know. That just kind of stood out to me. Okay, so you've got, and then now during this whole time, they're able to beam people down to the planet to do searching. There was one search party, one away team, where somebody died and several people got hurt. Now the dude that died, and I did write it down, so we're going to go to our master dead list here, is named Ensign O'Neill. Now I don't know if he was a red shirt, blue shirt, gold shirt, but I have now this is one of the things that kind of that I've noticed, and if you watched Lower Decks, the episode 6, which is A Spy Humongous, they actually there's a joke about red shirts, and of course the red shirt trope. Red shirts in Star Trek die. Okay, now so far we are. Let's go to the book. Okay, we are, and this is Galileo 7. So let's not even count the cage. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 16th episode. Okay, this is episode 16. 3 people died in this episode. So, for the sake of this episode, we're going to take our souls count. And this goes from 418 to 415. We have 415 souls on the ship. Okay. But if we really ever kept track of how many red shirts die, so we've lost, started out with 428. So we've lost 13 people, okay? Of those 13 people, we have 6 of them were gold shirts. 3 of them were blue shirts, and 2 of them were red shirts. We're 16 episodes in, and the gold shirts are winning. So I'm curious, at what point do the red shirts outdo the gold shirts? Big question, big question. So now, again, we do have 2 people that are not counted because we don't know what shirt Ensign O'Neill is. And the other person that died, who was a ship person, was a tech. So he didn't really have. He was like a jumpsuit. So maybe I'll just put a J for jumpsuit dude. Okay. But still, that leaves Ensign O'Neill unknown. Okay, and I'll unknown 1. Okay, because he is a U. So really, we've got 1 unknown, 1 jumpsuit, 6 gold, 3 blue, 2 red. That's what we're kind of sitting at. So I really think it's kind of looking like it's not really safe to be a gold shirt. and that the trope is wrong. But then again, we still have, I don't know how many episodes ahead of us. If we're on episode 16, we've still got 61, 60, 79 minus 16. Yeah, we've got a lot of episodes. We've got a lot of episodes to go until we figure out 64. Maybe 64, 63, something like that. We've got a lot of episodes to go. So we'll keep our count going. Okay. All right. So that is the Galileo 7. And so the next episode is the Squire of Gothos. So I don't know how much notes. I usually take about 2 pages of notes. And you know how many notes I actually took on this episode. Okay, so brief premise. Enterprise is going through what they talk about, a desert in space, and of course Spock schools them on what desert is. Basically it's kind of a void, but it's not a void. It's not like the void that they had in Voyager. This is just, you know, no planets, no stars, you know, and then they come upon this planet that they eventually find out is the planet Gothos. At one point, right now it is stardate 2124.5. I know I didn't call out the stardates of the previous ones. I think one episode didn't even call it out. The other episode I just forgot to tell you guys. So here, Kirk says, he talks about something, and he says, notify the Discovery. Now, I remember this thing coming up about the Discovery because, of course, we've got Star Trek Discovery. I think this was early on in the Discovery series that this came up, maybe the first season or maybe even before it started. So now, obviously, this is not the same Discovery because as of season 3, they are 900 some years in the future or 300 years in the future. I don't know how long they're. Anyway, they're way in the future. So, and this is, and basically 10 years ago it disappeared. So in the last 10 years, they had to have christened a new Discovery. That's the only explanation for that. And what that ship is, I don't know. It could be another Constitution class ship. I've seen lists of all 13, but I don't know if any of those were canon. But I do know that we have gotten names like the Farragut and all that kind of stuff throughout the time. Okay, so when Kirk and Sulu were taken, they just disappear off the bridge, and then McCoy and a couple more people beam down to the planet, or they beam down. They kind of find where it is. They beam down, and they walk into this castle. Okay. As they're walking in, on the left-hand side, there is a salt monster, and McCoy kind of looks and he goes like that. My note here is that doesn't look like Nancy. But I think that was kind of funny that he jumps. And of course, then they find Kirk and Sulu, and they're supposed to be frozen, but they're still moving. Let's see. They find out there's the mention of 900 light years from Earth is where they are. So they're about 900 light years from Earth. And then let's see. This main person, General Trillian, and I know I'm pronouncing that wrong. My brain is like mush right now. Anyway, so but he, retired, blah blah blah. when the dude gets the phaser, okay, gets the phaser away from, is it De La Salle or La Salle? Can't remember. Speaks French to him. Anyway, so he goes up, he takes the phaser and he goes, oh, this one's for stun. Now he shoots the salt monster with a phaser and it zaps. And then he shoots this bird creature, another mannequin there. For those of you who paid attention in the cage, and I mentioned this during that podcast, this is the same bird creature that was in the cage. Okay, now we didn't see it as part of the menagerie, but if you watch the cage when he's actually in there, you see these other creatures in their own cages, and that is, the bird creature is one of those creatures. My other question was this, and I can't remember the character's name, but is this the same or related to the bird creature that is the counselor on the Cerritos in Lower Decks? I don't know. Good questions that you should ask. Trillion. Whenever he plays the piano, of course, it doesn't match up. However, when he forces Uhura to play the piano, her fingers match up. So I have a feeling that Michelle Nichols knows how to play the piano. So they leave, and then they're forced to come back. There's a big dinner. Then there's a scene. These guys are eating. Okay, here's one of my problems. You've been kidnapped. Okay. Here's all this food. I'm this crazy guy. I'm dancing around this one gal that I snap of a finger. She's in a new dress. I'm forcing somebody to play piano. Who says she didn't know how to play piano? And then they're just casually eating. Really? I don't know. I don't think I can just casually eat. Unless, of course, I'm like really hungry. Now, of course, yes, I know. That was part of the plot because they say, yes, there's wine and there's brandy and there's food, but it doesn't taste like brandy. It doesn't taste like steak. It's very bland because he has the concept right, but not the context. So, yes, that was part of the building of the story. Let's see. So, okay. So when they get back on when they leave the planet, they're able to leave. All of them are able to leave. The yeoman who was dancing with Trillion, she's still in her gown. Now, she does ask if she can go back to her cabin and change. I would think that she would change. Like, she's a yeoman. Like, she should be able to, like, hey, we're back on the ship. I'll meet you on the bridge. I got to change first. I would, like, if everybody came on the bridge and then she came on the bridge in uniform, I would not have asked the question of, like, I would have just assumed that happened in between. Let's see. And then, of course, they mentioned Space Fleet Command. So they're slowly starting to build up, eventually become Starfleet, but Space Fleet Command. And then, let's see, the eternal disappears such as, what did I write? The eternal, the inertial dampeners. I can't even read my own writing. Okay, so they're trying to run away from this planet, and the planet is following them. And they're like this, because the ship is doing this. So the eternal dampeners suck. Or they were overworked. That's the only thing I can think of. And then when finally, so Kirk is taken, he's put on trial, and he's going to be hung till he's dead. And then Trillion's parents show up. And they apologize to Kirk. And they send him back. You can go back to your ship. Spock is like, hey, we should classify this. Is he a super being? Is he a force of energy? A war, a war something or other. I can't remember what Kirk said. And then Kirk is like, maybe a small boy. Dojo, my kitty's meowing. And he says, maybe just a very strange small boy. Now, of course, they have powers. He's considered a youngster. He had external energy stuff that helped him. One of the questions that comes up is he part of the Q continuum? Because he has Q-like powers. Now, he doesn't have a lot of Q-like powers. He's still limited. But is he part of the continuum? There's a camp out there that says, yes, he is part of the Q continuum. They just didn't present it that way. And so he's being kind of grandfathered in as a baby Q, or as a very strange small boy Q. I disagree. Just another race. He's probably some type of omnipotent being. The Q can't be the only ones out there. Okay. The reason I say this is because, and we'll eventually get into Voyager, Q, like Qs don't really have kids. They just kind of exist. So that was not a thing. And then they ended up having Q and Q that we know, John Delancey, and then this female Q who's actually played by the same actress who played Worf's love interest and the mother of his son. And I can't remember his son's name off the top of my head. That doesn't matter. We're not in that series yet. They end up going, boop, we've mated, and they have a youngster, but he still has powers, like snap powers. He doesn't utilize some energy field and a mirror or anything like that. So I just think it's just a different alien race that has omnipotent some type of powers, because we've run into a couple of them so far. Okay. All right. There you go. There's the 3 episodes. We've lost 3 crew members. We marked them off our souls list. And there you go. So tomorrow, same time, so far, same time, might be a little bit earlier. I don't know, but 7 or earlier. Tomorrow, we need to watch. Tomorrow is yesterday in Court Martial, but tomorrow's show, we will talk about Arena, which was one of today's episodes. Tomorrow's yesterday and Court Martial. So there'll be a talk for those 3 episodes, and then we'll get back on track. Okay, so there you go. That's all I have to say about that. I don't say it a lot. I need to remember to say this. If you like this episode, give it a like. Share this episode. Comment. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Just don't send me links for porn. That happens every now and then. That's not accepted. But your comments, your thoughts, what have you. So until tomorrow's episode, live long and prosper.